2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 5, and it reads, "Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved."
Enormous stakes to President Trump in the oil and gas industries, which are the primary but not the only interest in Venezuela. In other words, we could come back into the country as we once were with our oil companies and expertise. And we have the best deep drilling oil engineers in the world. We have the best technology, and we're ideally suited to do that. Plus the fact the distance from Venezuela to the United States in terms of moving the heavy oil with the high sulfur content that has to be refined in the United States is very short. We built refineries years ago in the United States that were ideally suited to convert Venezuela's heavy oil into fuel. So we're sitting there ready to go, and this can be done. But President Trump sees this as the opportunity to drive Russia and China permanently out of the Western Hemisphere by making it impossible for them to stay in Venezuela. Well, I'm not sure that's what's going to happen. First of all, the Chinese have been there before, and they frankly gave up on Chavez and left because Chavez didn't pay back the loans that he owed to the Chinese. The Chinese, and we've discussed this before, they're all about business. I mean, they'll give you a lot of rope and they'll go a long way with you. But if you finally default and say, forget it, I don't have anything, they'll pack their stuff and leave. Right. The Russian interest in Venezuela is a little different because they have an interest in more than just oil. Remember, they also have this distant connection with Cuba, and they have tried to help the Cuban government, not because they're communists, but because of this long-standing relationship that emerged with Cuba over many, many decades. And so they've tried to help stabilize the country to the extent that they could, in return for which they have been handsomely rewarded with gold. And the gold has been loaded by the ton on aircraft and flown straight into Moscow. So the Russians have also said, we'll provide you with whatever we can in terms of air and missile defense, radars, some strike weapons, and so forth. But I don't think the Russians or the Chinese are interested in going to war with us over Venezuela. So the real question is, militarily, what can we do with Venezuela? We can bomb it. Will we lose some aircraft? Maybe. It's hard to tell. Can we land troops there? Yes. It depends on how we go in and under what circumstances. I think we're trying to stage a coup. We're trying, with the help of CIA mercenaries and agents, and along with domestic malcontents, people that don't like Maduro, about 20% of the population, with their help, trying to stage a coup that could then bring in Mrs. Machado as the preferred puppet in Caracas. That's a slender straw from which to suspend all of this. How many times have we tried to pull this coup off in the past? It's failed and it's failed and it's failed. But we have the same people like Elliot Abrams, Marco Rubio, and others who've always been interested in going down there and toppling the government. Now, if that works, then the thousands of troops that are sitting in Puerto Rico are really designed to be a stabilization force, to come in and help stabilize the society. Well, I don't know how that works. Good luck with that, because they're not going to become welcome members of Venezuelan society if they go down there, because
Yeah, like, why would you go down there and try to take over? See, that's what the white man does. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders, a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, man. All right, so this is Colonel Douglas McGregor. This channel, I was trying to figure out who this is or whatever, but they got a bunch of videos that pertain to, the things that are happening in these last days, man, as far as like wars, rumors of wars and things like that. All right, so right now, Esau Edom, they're trying to set up a coup in Venezuela. They're surrounding it. The biggest military buildup for a long time. So these devils are showing their horns, man. Like the scriptures say, uh, woe to him that buildeth a town with iniquity and establishes a city by blood. They want to go in there and rape, rob, murder, and steal and kill, man. All right, and set up their, take the land, set up some kind of damn, probably 15-minute city somewhere or whatever, man. Go in there and get the minerals, the resources, the oil, obviously, which is a huge resource, and just rob and steal. That's what they do. All right. This is the thief. The Lord said, "The thief cometh not but to steal and to kill," man.
Most of the population isn't going to like it. And then you have, of course, the firepower, and we've got enough firepower that we could probably level Caracas if we wanted to. The question is, what good is it? How does it help us? How do we benefit strategically? I don't think we do. I think that we run the risk of mobilizing millions of people in Latin America against us. There are hundreds of thousands of people in Colombia and Brazil, paramilitary formations that would love to cross the border, come in and help people in Venezuela fight us. In other words, I've always been concerned that this becomes a bottomless pit for U.S. resources, not just military, but period. At a point in time where we're on the edge of bankruptcy. Why would you do such a thing? Well, I don't know. This seems like it's become a kind of vanity project. I think President Trump has talked himself into a corner. So the answer to the second question is I see no strategic benefit to us at all. In the long term, it'll be disastrous. But, there's a lot of disinformation. I tell everybody to go to the Drug Enforcement Agency's website, read what's there, and Venezuela is not a big player in the drug business. Their piece of it is maybe 4%, which is almost nothing. Now, the second thing is that, yes, I agree with the president. These illegal migrants that came into the United States, many of these Venezuelan gangs are horrible, should be dealt with harshly. Sure, I agree with all that. But we have to remember it was Biden that suspended the rule of law, who opened our borders, who stood down the police and the military and said, by all means, come in. So let's solve that problem at home. You're not going to solve that problem by destroying Venezuela.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And Trump, you touched on a really good point, was the sanctions. And I want to say, we've had multiple rounds of sanctions against Venezuela, multiple, coup attempts, even mercenary operations, but Maduro is still in power. And simultaneously, we've seen Venezuela move closer to Russia, China, Iran. At what point does this become clear evidence that U.S. sanctions and its regime change doctrine are just strategically?
Get your hair all the way up, just like that. Grab a hair tie and tie this right at the top. Raise this up, tie one more time, right over the cap.
Voluminous evidence to support that assertion. The problem is it doesn't seem to matter to the people in Washington, and that's our sticking point here. It's like if you ask the average American, what do you think about NATO? In Kansas City, they're probably going to say, well, what's NATO? If you go to Seattle, Washington, they say, well, what's the problem in this place called NATO? Where's that city located? In other words, an awful lot happens in the absence of understanding because most Americans are not engaged. Now we have a Congress which is probably, as Lou Dobbs used to say, the best government money can buy. And what are they doing about any of this? Where is the invocation of the War Powers Act? It's non-existent. Who's demanding a declaration of war? Tucker Carlson announced earlier today that a member of Congress told him that President Trump would speak to the nation tonight and announce that we're going to war with Venezuela. Well, the last time I looked, Congress has to declare war. The president has to go and ask for the declaration. Well, we've had plenty of presidents that circumvented the law, but in most cases they recognized it, disguised it, and tried to recover from it. There's no even remote interest in the law at all with President Trump. He's decided, I'm the president, I can do any damn thing I want. And thanks to his donors who seem to own everybody in Washington, I guess he can.
Well, I think you hit on it.
Yeah, see, these devils is real slick and sly, man. All right. So he was supposed to be announcing World War III. All right, or announcing that they're going to go to war with Venezuela. Slovakia. Okay, but I was watching Kim Iverson earlier, and she explained it even better. All right, because America had Trump had to go get some American soldiers' bodies from Syria, man, because they got attacked. So maybe tomorrow he'll announce it. But the point is that the Bible holds true when it speaks about this man, about his government, he's growing weak. He's growing desperate. Okay? So he's willing to do anything to forward his enterprise, man. He's willing to take people out. He's willing to rob, steal, kill, whatever it takes to accomplish his new world order. All right, and right now they're getting ready for War 3. They're going into these countries and trying to extract the resources, taking their oil tankers and things like that. It's all about getting ready. They're trying to get ready. Okay?
Good point there, because you mentioned earlier before, we about the drugs, right? And we've seen that the United States has labeled this. They're calling these strikes on these Venezuelan fishing boats. It's a drug interdiction. Basically, we need to stop these drug lords. But like you said, the data shows us that Venezuela is not a major player. It's actually a very, very small player, like you pointed out. And we've now surrounded Venezuela with warships. And have we already moved past has this basically been clear evidence that we're now, in fact, already started a war? I mean, have we gone past law enforcement, and is this already Trump declaring a war?
Yes. I think we have to recognize that we are effectively in a state of war with Venezuela. You can't.
Yeah, you're not getting away from this, man. The Lord has set a trap for you. Matter of fact, this is the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 50 and 24. And it says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. The Lord is sending plagues on this place. All right, people can't afford anything. America is bankrupt. Pretty much, this place is it can't hold on too much longer. They're gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to shut the lights out. They're gonna have to start this thing over. Right now, you got California, San Francisco. It's a blackout there. It reminds you of that movie with those Waymoos. It reminds you of that movie Leave the World Behind, man. All right, and what was going on in the city? Civil War was stirring up, and those Teslas were driving themselves. They were freaking out. But yeah, there's a blackout in San Francisco area. And something's gonna happen, man. It might just be a whole blackout of the whole United States. No more going to work and no more nothing until you receive this digital ID / CBDC, and then ultimately they're gonna use the RFID microchip. All right, spoken about in Revelation chapter 13. This is their plan. All right, so no matter what they try to do, they're not gonna get out of it, because really that chip is the Lord's chip. They're gonna have to, man. They're gonna have to force it on people, man. Real soon, they're gonna shut this place down some kind of way, man. They're gonna blame things and come up with shit and blame things, especially with their technology. They can do anything with the AI. Those are those miracles in the sight of the beast, man. So Jeremiah 50 and 24, it says, I have laid a snare for thee, Yeah, you're gonna have to fight. It says, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, aka America. And thou was not aware, thou art found and also caught because thou hast striven against the Lord. The Lord hath opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. Yeah, those nuclear missiles, man. The Lord of hosts means the Lord of armies. So all the missiles in the world, those nuclear missiles, those are the Lord's missiles, man. They might be tied to a nation or something, but the Lord is in the missiles. That's the Lord's missiles. All right, and he has a sacrifice in Basra. It says, the Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for this is the work of the Lord Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. So this is what's about to happen. It says, come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her out as heaps, and destroy her utterly, let nothing be left of her. Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day has come, the time of their visitation, man. The time of the visitation of this place. All right, the Lord's going to visit this place with nukes, man. With nuclear fire. All right. And the chariots beaming things to powder, man. People, structures, whatever, man. They just be tearing this place up, man. All right. Verse 29, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow camp against her round about. And that's what the Lord is doing. He's gathering all these nations, man, against America. Let none therefore escape. Recompense her. Who is her? America, man. According to her work.
Then they'll all come out of the woodwork and say, see, we never really supported this. The president's made a terrible mistake. We think he should be impeached. I mean, that's kind of where we are now. It's ridiculous. They have a duty, frankly, to stand up and be counted on this matter and put an end to it. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
One last point. There's something else happening here that people need to be aware of. Somebody tried to convince me recently, well, the Iranians have terrorist training camps in Venezuela. Well, that's just nonsense. That's not true. The Iranians are friendly to Venezuela. Well, that may be true. The Venezuelans have an interest in them because they too are another oil power. All of the oil powers have an interest in each other because they're part of a larger market. They have a huge impact on the planet. But we have to understand that now Mr. Netanyahu has mentioned Venezuela, and suddenly Venezuela is now anti-Semitic because it has recognized the legitimacy of the Palestinians and the state they want to build. That makes them anti-Semites. Therefore, they all deserve to die. So you have a number of converging forces here. And many billionaires are happy to do whatever they can to bring down anybody and anyone anywhere who doesn't immediately, unconditionally support Israel. Right. So that's in the background of this thing, sadly. That doesn't help matters either, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a tough one with Netanyahu because we saw, with that unfortunate terrorist attack in Australia, for example, right? Netanyahu came out and specifically said, oh, look, Australia has shifted to an anti-Semitic narrative, simply because they wanted to, recognize the state of Palestine. And of course, now Netanyahu is saying, look, this is what happens when you get that. So it's an unfortunate use of a tragedy to then support his agenda.
And that's the thing, man. I got to say it, man. They always say anti-Semitic, like anti-Sim. Like, there's no such thing as Sim. It's Shim. It's Shim. And you damn small hats, you can take as many videos down as you want to. Who gives a fuck, man? All right? We're going to keep making channels or whatever, man. You guys are pieces of shit. All right? Nobody can do anything without your permission, huh? Yeah, whatever.
Not surprising from Netanyahu. I mean, we've seen that track record from him. But,
yeah, but Cyrus, if President Netanyahu cared as deeply as he says he does about Jews in Australia, then you would meet privately with the prime minister or send your representative there, and you would say, "This is horrible. We want to help you prevent this from ever having to go through this again. Tell us what we can do so we can help you prevent this kind of thing in the future." You don't go out of your way to alienate.
The United States has launched a large-scale military strike against multiple targets in central Syria, targeting fighter jets, infrastructure, and suspected weapon sites. U.S. Central Command confirmed the mission and named it Operation Hawkeye Strike. The operation was carried out using American aircraft and forces already positioned across the Middle East. Fighter jets, attack helicopters, and artillery were involved in the strikes. According to U.S. officials, more than 70 targets were hit across multiple locations, with over 100 precision-guided munitions used during the operation. The strikes were launched in retaliation for a deadly ambush near Palmyra a few days earlier, in which 3 Americans lost their lives. President Donald Trump had vowed very serious retaliation following that incident, and today's operation fulfills that promise. The strike was aimed at ISIS remnants, the extremist group that once controlled substantial territory in Syria before being defeated territorially, but still maintains sleeper cells and logistical networks in remote regions. U.S. and coalition forces remain in Syria primarily to prevent a resurgence of
Iran unveiled one of its missile cities, a vast underground complex filled with ballistic missiles, launch systems, and precision-guided munitions. Deep within reinforced tunnels, racks of deadly weaponry stretch for miles, shielded from enemy strikes and surveillance. But while these bunkers are built to withstand attack, a single flaw could turn them into a ticking time bomb. Inside these subterranean fortresses, Iran has stored some of its most advanced weapons, capable of striking regional adversaries, designed for rapid deployment, and anti-ship cruise missiles, poised to challenge any naval threat in the Persian Gulf. The facility is more than just a warehouse. It's a declaration that Iran's military power remains untouchable, even beneath layers of rock and steel. Iran's missile tunnels appear dangerously exposed. A well-placed strike could trigger a chain reaction, reducing an entire stockpile to rubble. For now,
Trump just made a huge announcement. The United States is going to take over Venezuela and claim its land. But this is no longer just about oil. The U.S. wants Venezuela to return everything they call taken: the oil, the land, and other resources. Today, the U.S. officially designated the Venezuelan government organization, and now they have imposed a total blockade on almost everything in Venezuela. If you thought this was just about oil or Trump doing the right thing, you're wrong. Trump is talking about taken land, and here's the twist. The U.S. wants to put this person in charge of Venezuela. She's the president of Venezuela, the one waving the Palestinian flag, and she's been very clear. She wants to open up Venezuela fully for foreign investment. The U.S. is about to claim large amounts of land, buy all the oil, and reshape Venezuela. She's even reportedly asked Israel to invade Venezuela on her behalf. This all sounds strange, but looking at the situation, no one really knows. This is no longer about protecting American citizens. This is a full-scale invasion and annexation of a country. What do you think? Is this the right move, or has the...
It's all types of stuff going on, man. All types of stuff is going on, right? This is in, it says farmers are raising up across Europe. Roads are blocked. Capitals under pressure. Brussels is on the edge. Yeah, these farmers are spraying, I think that's crap, man. Manure on these people. And that goes into uproars of the people, man. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And I'll start at 6, and it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass. For nation but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." All right. All these are the beginning of sorrows. A better example Well, that was a pretty good example. It spoke about uproars of the people. So this is let me get this one right quick. Just a few more scriptures. Bear with me. Yeah, Second Esdras chapter 9. That's what I wanted to get. This is Second Esdras chapter 9 and 1. And it says, and he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, in the book of Matthew chapter 24, what we're reading, the Lord clearly told you. Wars and rumors of wars, all these things. It says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world in which he made. Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand. And that's now you understand. Something's going on, man. The Lord is doing these things. All right, so there's uproars of the people, man. All right. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all is made in the world have a beginning and the end is manifest. The end is manifest, man. There goes another one, the power outage in San Francisco. Darkness, man. Let's get a better example of it. Fox News is reporting on the power outage, man. The whole city, look. Half the city in San Francisco is dark. It's dark out there, man. All right? And I got a feeling that there's a horrible blackout coming. And this video by Candace Owens, man, I'm about to play this mug, man. She went totally in on you damn small hat crackers, bro. Yeah, man. You know, I didn't want to play that video. I'm going to save that for another time. But wars are happening. Blackouts are happening. People uproaring against the government. You got all types of things happening, man. Everything is happening. The Waymos, the cars. Look at these. These are like, that's why this reminds me of that movie. What's it called? Leave the World Behind, man. When those white cars, when those white Teslas, where they started acting up and shit. So all the signs are there, man.
It's gonna set this thing on fire if it doesn't move soon.
So when the power went off, the Waymos stopped working. You know, and the self-drive, like people are still inside those cars, like they can't get out. Like whenever the Waymos stop working, that they'll lock the doors be locked. You know, a glitch in the system. Then the people be stuck in the damn Tesla, man. So that's what's going on the earth, man. War, rumors of wars, all types of stuff, man. Power outage. San Francisco hit with huge electricity outage, affecting 130,000 residents. 130,000, man. Plunged into darkness. Check that out, man. Half of the city plunged into darkness. I had to call my buddy out there and ask him if he's okay. They said they were straight. They must not. They said they dealing with other stuff though. He didn't tell me, but people out here struggling, man. I'm sure he'll tell me eventually. So what's this? This is China tells U.S. to immediately stop arming Taiwan. Breaking news: U.S. sees a ship belonging to China-based oil company. It was reported today the Chinese ship called Centuries was snatched in the operation using military helicopters, which illegally landed U.S. Coast Guard officers on board. See? Woo! In a classic piracy on the high seas operation, the armed officers went to the ship's bridge, took the crew hostage, and gained control of the vessel. So, yeah, man, I'm going to go to this and make sure, because I know somebody searched it up. Yeah, so America is... Yeah, they damn pirates, man. Yeah, they going in and taking oil and shit off the seas. Yeah, so all these things are happening in the earth, man. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's them, man. That's the pirates. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, man, I like that. I might use that picture later on, probably, man. Yeah. I like that. That's these damn devils, these crackers. That's how they get down, man. Going back. This is Jeremiah. Let me read the scripture real quick. Jeremiah. Yeah, see, the Lord is about to destroy this place, man. Because you devils, that's all you do all throughout the earth. You go around and steal, man. You go around and steal, rape, rob, murder. And you steal everything. Yeah, this is Jeremiah chapter 51. I was just there. Let's read some of that. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 28, it says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. See, Russia gonna have that thought, the Lord gonna put that thought in their head, man. Was that Ezekiel chapter 38? Let's go to it real quick, right? Yeah. Let me read this in verse Ezekiel 38 and 1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog in the land of Magog, the chief priest of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief priest of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back. And that's talking about that region over there of Russia. That's talking about Russia today, man. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaw. So the things that Russia's doing on the world stage with the BRICS, with all these nations forming, with them guarding different nations like Venezuela. Hey, the Lord is doing all that, man. All right, the Lord is doing all that. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. Yeah, turn them to that old USSR attitude, man. You remember whenever Marlon Wayans, that movie back in the day, he's like, USSR. He had the big ass missile in the truck. I forget that movie what it's called, but Yeah, man. So yeah, the Lord is turning Russia back to that grizzly bear, man, to that huge bear. All right. All thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with armor, and all all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Because Russia in these days are gathering a huge army together. Like they're taking it easy on Ukraine. They could have been took out Ukraine, but they don't want to. Those are their brothers. Those are the people. But the enemy come to sow division, really, man. You know, got Ukraine trying to join NATO and stuff so they can be right there in the backyard of Russia so they can eventually go in and set up a coup in Russia or whatever, man. The NATO and the EU is in America completely, you know, going against the wishes of Russia. Like they don't want them in their backyard because they know that they're thieves. All right, once you let a thief in your house, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna freaking steal. Okay? So it says Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So the Lord is making Putin gather together all types of nations to Russia to protect them and to have their backs, and they have their backs. The BRICS nation, all those things, man. It says Gomer with all his bands in the house of Togarmah in the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. It says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. That's what the Lord's talking about. Russia's going to be a guard unto these nations. And after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years, thou shalt come into the land that is bought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which I have, it says, which have always been waste, but it is brought forth as the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. And thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Yeah, because you damn small hats over there, man. Hey, the Lord's stirring up nations to come against you, man. All right, because that's not your damn land anyway, man. And that land's going to be destroyed. Thus saith the scriptures, man. That land over there is going to be destroyed, and it's going to be built back. Unlike America, America's going to be destroyed, and it ain't never going to be built back again. It says, verse 10, thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Right? That's going to be from the Lord. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Yeah, America's next, man. Unwalled villages. And I will go to them that are at rest. Yeah, that's America. That dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. Yeah, people don't realize they don't realize how easy it would be for the Lord to stir up an army against this place. See, they was always talking about that damn Iron Dome, but whenever we seen Iran shoot them missiles, there wasn't no damn Iron Dome, man. Them missiles was hitting. All right, so ain't no damn Golden Dome Trump trying to build. Ain't nothing gonna stop the missiles, man. They gonna hit. Cause why? Cause they the Lord's missiles. They ain't your missiles. You just made them. The Lord said, what's that? I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, man. Those the Lord's missiles, man. All right? Those are the Lord's missiles. Anyway, Yeah, these data centers. Look at this in St. Joseph's camp. So we got to get the heck out of here. So the Lord is stirring up war in the background, man. These devils, if they have it their way, and these data centers are taking over, man. It says it will use 2.2 gigawatts of power, equivalent to the electricity needed to power roughly 1 million homes. These data centers are being set up all across America, man. In the background. All right. And there was some news on some new technology. It may be with these, but it was some chip technology. Yeah, breaking. Chinese researchers have developed an all-optical AI chip called LightGen that outperforms NVIDIA's leading hardware. And if I got on the stock market, I can try to look into that LightGen and invest in it. You know, on one of these little apps or whatever. That shit, hey, it don't even matter. This place is going to be destroyed. But I'm just saying, like, these people are competing with each other for this technology. That's what it's all about. Who's going to implement the chip? Who's going to have this? Who's going to be able to bring in the New World Order first? They're all competing for it. So it says it outperforms NVIDIA's leading hardware by more than 100 times in speed and energy efficiency, especially for generative video and images synthesis, according to South China Morning Post. So everybody's competing for the best technology.
Of globalization, of the ultimate centralization of control in the hands of unelected officials at supranational organizations.
They want all of the resources of the world in their pocket.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. All the land. Yeah, man. The land. They're taking all the land. They're it's a resource. All right, so this is the devil the Bible speaks of, man. This is, and it all leads back to the white man, the wicked elites.
The bigger picture is that an attempt is underway now to collapse liberal democracy and replace it with global technocracy.
This is a coup. They're saying we can control with rules. We don't need currency anymore.
It's like an inverted prison. You are supposedly free to roam about, but everything you want to access is behind lock and key.
The potential for social control is gigantic and potentially irreversible.
They plan to commandeer land, reduce farming, and radically change the food we eat, transform the supply of electricity, and then dictate how we use it, and replace currency with a system of credits. All three strategies are built on the premise of a climate crisis caused by carbon dioxide.
I do not think there's a climate crisis, and I base that on all the evidence and the climate data sets that we build to answer questions just like that. The government is very clear that they want a catastrophic story.
There is no single science paper that proves conclusively that humans control all or most of the global climate.
Yeah, they coming out with this climate shit, man. You know, which is going to lead into your carbon footprint. All right, which is going to lead to CBDCs, digital IDs. They want to track your carbon footprint, how much food you eat, how many times you go to the bathroom. All right, this is what they want, man, and they're setting up traps in the background to get what they want. This is what they want, okay? They're setting up those traps in the background to get what they want. That's what the scriptures say in Psalms 64 and 2. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And that's what we need. We need that protection from the Lord to hide us from these damn devils, man, because they're listening to us through the phone. You ever notice you be talking about something and then you didn't look it up on your phone, but then it pops up on your phone. They're constantly listening to you. They're constantly lying to your face, like they're not taking your data and selling it, and They just lie. They just keep. These are the master wizards and witches and warlocks, man, that you're dealing with. This AI and all this other shit, man. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Yeah, they 2030 agenda. You will own nothing and be happy, right? You will eat the bugs. That's what they want you to, the WEF. They're like, you're going to be eating the bugs, man. You're going to eat the bug. You know? They're cutting off the food. You know, like, the Lord provided food for everything. The Lord provided food for everything. There's no reason nobody should go without any food, man. But this devil, he poisons everything. He's taking over all the farms, putting GMOs everywhere. It's basically, they're committing a chemical war on the people. Biological warfare, chemical warfare on you people, man. McDonald's, that's a damn death, that's a death burger. It says, who wet their tongue like a sword, their tongue goes into their legislation. All right? Who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Yeah. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of land snares privately. They say, who shall see them? They commune of land snares. Snares a trap. That's what this is all about.
Of globalization, of the ultimate centralization of control in the hands of unelected officials at supranational organizations.
They want all of the resources of the world in their pocket.
The bigger picture is that an attempt is underway now to collapse liberal democracy and replace it with global technocracy.
This is a coup. They're saying we can control with rules. We don't need currency anymore.
It's like an inverted prison. You are supposedly free to roam about, but everything you want to access is behind lock and key.
The potential for social control is gigantic and potentially irreversible.
They plan to commandeer land, reduce farming, and radically change the food we eat, transform the supply of electricity, and then dictate how we use it, and replace currency with a system of credits.
All three strategies are built on the premise of a climate crisis caused by carbon dioxide.
I do not think there's a climate crisis, and I base that on all the evidence and the climate data sets that we build to answer questions just like that. The government is very clear that they want a catastrophic story.
There is no single science paper that proves conclusively that humans control all or most of the global climate.
Europe's mad dash towards net zero is effectively economic suicide. Politicians are purposely impoverishing ordinary people, purposely deindustrializing Europe.
It's just tremendous amounts of damage in the name of saving the planet. It does make you ask, what is it we're actually saving if we're paving it over?
I think what we're dealing with here is actually a global war on agriculture.
When you look at how many farms are selling out, we're walking into food shortages. If I can switch everybody from real food to pharma food, then 100% of the agriculture industry can go through my publicly traded stocks, and I have complete control.
This is the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it's far more than that. It's a blueprint. It is the action plan.
All life on Earth is going to be radically changed.
Everything will be monitored. The environmental consequences of every human action. The general population cannot fathom the psychopathy of the vision that they're facing.
Once the digital ID is in place, it's game over for humanity.
Yeah, so just like the scripture about to say, man, what's that scripture say? The enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. This is Sirach, chapter 12. Right? Sirach 12 and verse 16, it says, the enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. So he speaketh sweetly with his lips, meaning, you know, he promotes things, you know, No, he causes things to go into legislation that may seem good for you. Like they're gonna push that MOTB and the CBDC before that. It's gonna seem like it's the best thing to do for you, man, because you're already struggling. So like people are searching for some kind of salvation right now. That's why they say make America great again. All right, so these people want things to go back to normal. They're gonna shut the lights off in this bitch, and then they're gonna be like, hey, we can get back to normal if you do this. All right, so that's gonna be one of those traps, like Section 8, like this devil has all types of traps, man. Right? Traps in the food, traps in the air, traps in the school system, traps in the paperwork with the hospitals and things like that. It's all types of damn snares and traps with this person's. It be sounding good at first, but then they're able to change things up. It sounded okay, but then they're able to go in there and do revisions, revision 1, revision 2, A, E, F, revision O. All right, and ultimately keep your ass in derision, man. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. Yeah, the whole time he's creating a thing called the FDA. All right, he's got the FBI and the CIA going around committing all types of crime, bringing drugs in, all types of shit. But they call Maduro and them drug dealers, but they're the biggest drug dealers in the world. That's why those other countries call America the Great White Satan. The Great Satan, man. Because you're a damn devil. You set things up, but you be doing the same shit. You selling the most drugs in the world, but you going after drug traffickers and then lie about it. And oh no, we're just gonna go after the land. They stole our land. How the fuck they stole your land? Did not you steal this land? Oh, then you got your ICE agents running around gathering up native peoples to these lands and sending them different countries. Like they don't even live over there. This nigga then gathered up a Latino brother and send them to fucking Africa somewhere, man. That's this devil that we dealing with. You know, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
California for 20. One man who knows the dangers only too well is Aman Jabi, who was at the forefront of digital development in Silicon Valley, California for 25 years. He left when he recognized the dark side of surveillance technology, choosing instead the peace and beauty of Montana. He's an expert in facial recognition.
It's a technique that is used to uniquely identify the biometrics of any face. So, in a device like your smartphone, and most modern smartphones in the last 5 or 7 years, they have a 3D camera module in the front of the phone, which you cannot see. Within that module is a near-infrared projector, which projects tens of thousands of dots on your face. Those dots are then distorted based on the contours and the features of your face. And there's a near-infrared camera then takes a picture of that distortion, captures it, and then reverse engineers the exact profile of your face. In the longer term, facial recognition will be used to unlock your digital identity, which is going to be a tool of control for the agendas that are coming down the pipeline.
Elements of that control are already with us.
Alexa, good morning. Good morning.
You are never alone in your home, and this is why. All your devices at home and all smart appliances, they are all connected on a wireless network. Many of these devices will have cameras, many will have microphones, and so they are monitoring everything all the time. Your smart appliances are communicating with the smart meter and sending it real-time usage data. If there's a Ring camera also in your home, a mesh network is formed, and all your devices are being tracked within the home, its location, its usage, and all the data is going to Amazon servers. When you leave your home, all modern vehicles are connected to the internet, so your automobile is being tracked all the time. When you're going under a string of smart LED poles and smart LED lights on the highway and in the streets of your towns and cities, those form a wireless network and are tracking your vehicle. They're tracking all the devices on you, from smartphones to smartwatches when you're walking on the streets. So data is being collected 24/7, continuously on every human being.
And that's the truth, continuously, man. Just earlier, I tried to cover up my phone on I had a new phone. I tried to cover up the back of it, and I kept seeing something in the. I had it on camera mode, and I covered up the screen, and it kept on fucking flashing, bro. I was like, what the hell's going on my screen? It's all weird. And I figured it out, that it's just flashing. It's trying to take a picture. It don't like being covered, man. All right, this is the book of Psalms 37 and 32. It says, the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him, man. So you're already in a state where they just know where you at and everything, man. They know what you're saying, even when your phone is off. You can have the phone off in a corner somewhere. You got old phones around your house, they still listening through them motherfuckers. I got a phone from like 3 years ago. It's somewhere, it's just, you know, and I should have thrown the bitch away, but you know, I got pictures on it, I got things that I like on it that I wanted to, you know, hopefully transfer. I need a damn laptop. But the thing is, it's constantly listening to you. It don't matter if it's off or not. It's a tracking device. The thing is, I don't know why, if they can track all this information, why can't they find all those hundreds of thousands of children that are missing in America, man? They can track everything else, but they can't find those damn missing kids. Human trafficked children. I know they got phones. They had phones. A bunch of kids got phones. But they ain't finding no children, though. That's because they fucking taking the kids, man. This is the devil the Bible speaks of, bro. Anyway, man. Shalom.